I want to get a Taser and go. Just for kicks and giggles.
What do you think of when you
I'm having some deja vu. I feel like
FNAF fan.
I'm feeling hungry. Hold on. Is it recording at least? Ah.
You might think of the joy of creation, Day Shift at Freddy's, maybe even candies, pop goes, or the glitched attraction. For me, though, I instantly think of the One Night at Flumpty's series. I don't believe any game beats it. It's an amazingly stylized visual masterpiece. Its gameplay is well crafted, its characters are likable, and it knows exactly how much to take itself seriously. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why I believe the One Night at Flumpty's games are the best Five Nights at Freddy's fan games that have ever been made.
It's finally hot again.
The game's developer, Jonachrome, was born on June 30th, 1994, and he started animating and illustrating on Flash at just 10 years old in 2004, and joined Newgrounds, a website especially popular for sharing such creations. He would then begin his game development career with Riddle School, and he'd make many other games as well.
Riddle School?
Some of you might be unaware of this, but Flumpty and Birthday Boy Blam have origins far preceding the game that they're actually featured in. Their actual point of origin would be a comic that he and his friends made for fun. The idea was that using MS Paint, one person would draw a few panels and then pass it on to the next person. From there, the process would repeat until a semi-cohesive
here's how it's gonna work. It'll be real simple. So Gross will be the driver.
The Boy Blam that has the top hat and monocle was originally a completely separate character named Kevin Jr. The way that Flumpty came along for the first time was a comic where Flumpty buried both of them because they were conveniently lying.
I mean, I could potentially try Cookie as well.
Flumpty was able to summon the shovel he used to bury them from thin air, and thus began the narrative that Flumpty was a character immune to the plot. And
so Gross is more likely to trigger
the reason why
the electro charge herself.
In that way was because it was the only reasonable explanation for why he could do the things that he did. A few months after the release of Five Nights at Freddy's in August of 2014, Jonachrome would find himself intrigued by the indie horror game, and he decided as a sort of inside joke among friends that it would be pretty funny if he made a fan game called Five Nights at Flumpty's.
The threads of your fate lie in my hands.
Warriors, he figured
I created another universe and founded paradise.
Why not Flumpty's? He then spent the next few weeks turning this joke into a reality. Jonachrome was already a huge fan of the original FNAF formula, so because of that, the first game's gameplay loop is pretty similar to that of Five Nights at Freddy's. Early in the development, Jonachrome had decided to reduce
either soothing water or high voltage would be good.
One night at Flumpty's.
To have.
He wanted to capture the feeling of playing Slender, where the game restarted from scratch every time you died and got progressively harder, nearing completion. He also wanted a chance to differentiate himself from other FNAF fan games at the time, since it wasn't really a popular idea to do just one night. And because of all of this, he had to make sure the balance and difficulty curve worked.
Yeah.
And I think he achieved it.
Is there a character that's a bow healer? I'm pretty sure not, right? Well, maybe C4 Goro.
Flumpty and Blam are active immediately, basically, and Flumpty fittingly has the ability to teleport to any location he wants, following no set path. Flumpty inhabits the left door like Bonnie in FNAF, and Blam the right door like Chica. The Redman is a special case. He sort of recycles the idea behind the kitchen in Five Nights at Freddy's. For the first half of the night, Cam 3 has no video feed. However, at 3 a.m., he begins to move, revealing that the room was actually volcanic the whole time. Because of this subtle inclusion on this other character's newspaper, the visual of the room, and specific use of the red color on the glitched camera feed, the game is designed to let you know who the Redman is before you even have to worry about him. For anyone that had noticed this massive gaping hole in the wall across from where the player is seated, come 4 a.m., they'd now be met with a face.
No, I think Mona might be good, but
this is Grunkfist the Clown, which is the first name
preferably
that came to Jonachrom's head when he had to think
long. I can go with Yellen, but you know, I'm always using her. But you know what? Fine.
On the left side, but he didn't go through with that.
Pookie and Yellen instead of
Grunkfist is totally the better clown. It isn't incredibly obvious right away, but after a few camera flips, most people.
I think Frozen gets rid of electrocharge, so Cryo will not be good here.
This is an excellent and unique way to balance the camera usage, because not only does it encourage you to flip up the camera sparingly, but it also encourages you to get as much use out of every flip as possible, since the amount of time you spend in the camera isn't actually relevant. The eyes of Cam 5 are meant to serve as an indication of exactly how many camera flips you have left, but that fact isn't really communicated to the player, and this is probably the only shortcoming this game has. But in my opinion, it's not really much of an issue, since the 30 camera flips that you're given once he shows up are more than enough to complete the night.
Lisa
was a
might be
character
good.
idea given to him by a friend.
Yeah, it too, but
added as a
Alright, let's go.
For Foxy. He leaves the toilet when he runs out of TP, and it's hard to spot since he's pretty quick in his animation, but his feet are made of knives. The newspaper that he can be seen with that I mentioned earlier actually serves as a little insight.
Wait, what's happening? Oh, there's an event. Oh yeah, Fungus Mechanicus.
He kidnaps person because he felt like it is a headline that refers to you.
Right. I just wanted to record myself trying out Taser.
This is a game to the player. It's a game to Flumpty as well. Full of entertainment. He's kidnapped you and placed you into Flumpty's house of horrors. And supposedly, if you survive the night, he'll become his best friend. Jonachrome even went on to say in a developer commentary that the reason why the doors stop Flumpty is because of a self-imposed limitation, so that he can have more fun. Otherwise, it would be too easy for him to just kill you. The newspaper also references the Redman with the "man drinks lava and he lives" kinda headline. Fun fact, the Redman is a character that Jonachrome previously had wished to incorporate into a different horror game that he never finished. He decided to recycle it for this one. The other half of the newspaper is mostly used to convey the Beaver's game mechanics, and
It's
also
gone.
has a cheeky reference to Mark
Can I go
Warner,
take a look?
who is actually the reason why John Crumb developed his interest in Five Nights at Freddy's in the first place. For the last character in this game, he decided to make a similar Easter egg to Golden Freddy in the form of Golden Flumpty. He acts pretty much exactly the same as Golden Freddy does, just need to flip up the camera to make sure that you don't get a jump scare. A few other gameplay ideas were thought of, but not implemented, such as being able to honk Ronald McDonald's nose, music playing at certain points, and even a phone call in the middle of the night. He also considered making a second night that would be the same, but just harder, but he ultimately decided against that idea. Little did he know that this idea would merely be shelved and revisited quite soon. Long story short, the gameplay is great. Maybe not too original, but super polished and well executed nonetheless, especially compared to other fan games around this time. But if that were all this game had to offer, well, I probably wouldn't have made this video. As an artist myself, I find myself enamored by the game's artistic direction. Most Five Nights at Freddy's fan games tend to go in the direction of vaguely imitating the visual style of the original and Scott Cawthon's art style, with 3D characters and environments in a dark, grunge setting. However, John Crumb was already an experienced 2D artist and animator prior to making this game, so the 3D approach wasn't really necessary. The color composition of all of the areas and the character designs are short of beautifully done.
Busted.
Even though the characters already existed before the game, at least Flunky and Glam did, their simple, seemingly kid-friendly character designs were
Animal test 6308.
just for an
Stand clear.
the post-Five Nights at Freddy's era. As a sort of self-imposed artistic limit to challenge himself, he decided that
Our bond is
he
strong.
use the color
Quietly now.
anywhere within the game's characters and environments. This, of course, did not apply to the interface, as he cites he kept the door buttons, the usage bar, and the camera icons like that for the sake of being similar to the original Five Nights at Freddy's. This self-imposed limit
Absorption test.
most obviously seen with the cactus sitting on the desk. By the way, everything in the office was put there by suggestions from a friend, and as you can see, there are a plethora of outside references to be seen. Upon completing the night, you don't actually reach 6 a.m.
It's electro damage.
You reach ham. Following the inevitable stress that will be the latter hours of the game, you're treated to a
so you
happy-go-lucky
wanna
and colorful credits sequence
apply hydro
showing all
first
of the game's
before
characters,
electro.
and then the
I thought it was the other way around supposed to be.
Alright.
now
Busted.
So I think Mona is actually better here.
earlier.
Animal test 6308.
Game developers
I'm not sure about how the units work.
expect people to like one piece. Even though it might be obvious to us the quality of even the first game, to him it was, at the end of the day, a joke game. He figured since people wanted a sequel, he might as well start thinking about making another one. The problem was, he didn't have any solid gameplay.
Quietly now. Stand clear.
Like how similar the first game was to Five Nights at Freddy's, and if he was going to take things a bit more seriously this
Stand with
time,
me.
he wanted to come up with more original ideas. While staying at a relative's house, he had a nightmare where he was sitting in a garage with a light switch next to him. There was a hallway in front of him, and monsters...
How the hell is this guy fucking using his shield to block his electro charge? I've heard about grounding, but that's just absurd.
Sound familiar? This dream was the basis for One Night at Flunky's 2. The development for the sequel wasn't nearly as easy this time around. There's definitely a whole other
It's a nice
conversation
day,
to be
but
had about
I
the
can't
mental
seem to
health
shake
of
this
artists and
strange
creators.
I've rarely ever had
Outside
nightmares.
pressure
Let's just
can
hope it's my
completely
imagination.
change your perspective and
I remember
approach
one
to
still
projects.
vividly,
Like,
but that's the only nightmare I can remember ever having. I'll tell the story some other day, hopefully. I wanna just pay attention to this video.
But at the second game came with a haunting concept: expectation. The problem was further exacerbated when John and Grum played Five Nights at Freddy's 2 for the first time,
Dissipate.
partially through
Animal
early
test
development
6308.
stages.
Stand clear.
He realized that a lot of his ideas weren't as personal as he hoped, and neither were they as good as he hoped. There were also a few aspects of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that he didn't like and wanted to avoid, if possible. Originally, the characters were going to kill you the moment you made a mistake with the lights, and the clown, Grumpus, was going to act like the puppet and the music box. However, he knew both of these mechanics would immediately move the game towards being unfair, and he also knew that the music box
The bond is strong.
was already
Absorption
overdone.
test.
I'm sure everyone has their reservations for that type of mechanic nowadays. He also wasn't a fan of how difficult Five Nights at Freddy's
Yeah, Electrocharge kinda works like
Animal
Cryo,
test 6308.
since they slow enemies down by occasionally stunning them.
Things are about to get dicey. Gotcha.
Eyes
on
taking
me!
a short break from development in
I'll
order to
settle
slow
this.
down.
Dissipate.
He had another dream. This time, it was a Super Mario Sunshine 2 dream, for some reason, according to him. Every time Mario was seen by the enemies, a bar in the corner would slowly rise, and this was directly implemented into the game in the form of the exposure meter, and it solved all of his balancing problems almost entirely. This was evident in the fact that once he actually played the game in full for the first time to test it,
Frick.
he was
I'm so
surprised
itchy.
at just how well it already worked. It only needed minor adjustments, especially for the newly added second night, hard-boiled mode. Since the exposure meter could never go down, he still kept the tension for the end of the night that would normally be created by a lack of remaining power. Another thing that he didn't like about Five Nights at Freddy's formula in general was how unimportant the cameras actually tended to be in retrospect. He also wasn't a fan of how most of the animatronics in the second game would attack you and ultimately be dealt with in near identical ways. Because of this, he went in with the philosophy that every character had to serve a completely unique gameplay function, and he incorporated many of these functions using the camera so as to kill two birds with one stone and make that actually useful.
Oh my
The
god.
Redman from the first game returns in a pretty simple way. This time, he's a
Why are they killing themselves right now, trying to kill me?
and slowly
How
the
pathetic.
progress bar will build over time. If you spend too long and contemplate on it, you'll die. The owl,
Absorption
who has
test.
replaced the
Stand
from the
clear.
previous game because he
Exosaurus is good, but I guess it would still be better
also needed to be
for
checked
an
on.
Electro character
He
to
was
be
a
the
more
main
unique take on the
DPS,
Foxy type
the main
character
fielder.
in that he could come from two different sides, and only one
Absorption
vent
test.
covered to prevent him from getting into the room at a time.
Is Electro Charge Lisa any
The
good?
suggestion that John and Grum got from his first game to allow them to come from either side. Turning off the light doesn't affect the
I don't know, there aren't that many guys on Electro Charge, even though it's apparently like super popular. Team comp to try.
To ashes!
And they are slightly
Animal
more
test
likely to
6308.
open.
Tap.
This time around, Grunkfist operates on a timer that you
Over
can only
vape
keep
is way
track
more
of
popular.
if you view his camera. Because he's much closer to you when he enters the office than the other characters peeking out of the hall, he makes your exposure meter rise faster than most of the characters, so checking on him is very integral. Since the game runs at 30 FPS, every 30 digits on the timer actually equates to 1 second. He isn't active immediately, but you can tell when he shows up, because the hole eerily similar to the one from the first game appears on your left. Checking the cameras is also beneficial for the other characters for the same reason. Of course, you can just rely on your reaction time to reflexively turn the light off when they appear. However, this will almost always be slower than already knowing their position and will result in your exposure meter rising, at least by a little bit. exposure meter rising, at least by a little bit. Flumpty has a random pattern, like the first game, and has a 15% chance to appear in your office upon any random teleportation. Because of this randomness, Jonachrome added a small peekaboo animation that serves as a delay so you actually can react to him. To me, this also feels like it might be referencing the fact that Flumpty would prefer to have a self-imposed challenge to make things more interesting and fun for him. Blam, on the other hand, runs on a fixed path and is pretty normal and expected. If you remember the pit of eyes from the first game, you may know about Eyesore. Believe it or not, Eyesore didn't exist in the first game at all. It wasn't meant to be a character, it really just was a pit of eyes. However, Jonachrome wanted to turn it into a character because so many people thought it was one.
Add Astra.
And after some struggle, he eventually
Thank you for
settled
completing
on a
today's
design
commission.
that depicted the past victims of Flumpty,
Add
amalgamated
Astra.
into one flesh being. He becomes active at 4 a.m. and then makes his way out of the pit and through camps.
Welcome to Flumpty Dumpty, it's your time.
He raises the exposure meter much faster.
I wanna play one night at Flumpty's.
Because he has 20 eyes.
It is the most solid and most arcade-like. It's like that's what I like about the Five Nights at Freddy's gameplay-wise.
Exactly the same.
The lore is its own thing, you
The
know.
only difference being that you
But like
can also
gameplay-wise,
turn
like I
buttons.
said, I compare it to arcade
He had
games, and I
originally
love
planned
arcade
to make
games, you
another
know.
character that
That's
was
what I
one,
love.
but
That's why I
ever
like
since
Toho
then,
so much.
The
The arcade gameplay style.
Not make noise when it passed the office, but in execution,
I don't like games that are in the middle of in terms of length. Arcade games are nice and short, while RPGs are incredibly long.
As a result, this
Both of
concept
which allow me to play them for a really long time.
Although it
One
might
because it's
seem a
just
little
actually really long, and the other for its replay value. And anything in the middle is just very
was
awkward
simply
for me.
curious to see what the players could do with a harder difficulty. And originally he didn't do this because he didn't want to add a game mode like that to a game that was pretty much just recycled ideas, but obviously this time around they were mostly original. He even made sure that hard-boiled mode was possible by beating it himself, and even said that he wouldn't release the game at all if he couldn't. I believe the art direction in this game is actually stronger than that of the first game, despite being released a few months later. I think the quality of the drawings and animations increased substantially between the two games. He called upon the same friend that gave him suggestions for what to put in the office the first time, but this time he came up with a lot of it himself. Just like the previous game, he employed a self-imposed limitation for his art direction, and this time the goal was to avoid the color blue. This is why the whale on the floor is green. The lack of blue makes for an overall warmer colored environment, mostly composed of reds, oranges, and yellows. The cheeky references to other media and Five Nights at
Right, so I'll be
Freddy's
replacing
are really
Beidou
nice to see, and
with Candace, and
buy outside
using
the
Cookie
office
as the on
is
loader.
pretty funny. The environment and characters are so well illustrated, it adds so much to the atmosphere of the game. The original Flunkies had been made as a parody.
It'll be great,
This time
trust me.
around, He likened Flunkies 2 to more of a tribute to Scott Cawthon, and his amazing hard work on Five Nights at Freddy's in general. The songs coming from the record player were both composed by Jonachrome himself, one playing on the normal night and the other playing on the hard-boiled night. The second one is actually a cover of the Toreador March, which I'm sure all of you know
I
is
can
the music box
look up
song
how
that
Electro
plays
Charge
when the
works
power runs out in the original Five
a
Nights
bit
at
more in
Freddy's.
depth. That'll inform me better on how to make my Taser team. I'm familiar with the more popular formats, and that's why I'm building the teams the way I do.
And this ties back to his year of this Scott's work.
Busted. Quietly now.
Stand with me. Lightning, Miracle. Stand clear. Animal test 6308. Stand clear. We shall prevail.
Do your worst. Things are about to get dicey.
This. Gotcha. Swirl, Mark 2.
but he quickly realized that
Flee!
Animal test 6308.
Gotcha.
mental health information exponentially
Stand with me.
deteriorated as a result.
Do your
He
worst!
managed to program the entire map system to 16 rooms and drew them 19 times.
Not very powerful, as to be
Only
expected.
then he realized that the way that he designed the gameplay was inherently flawed. You see, the game was designed around being able to block off certain hallway paths, and he didn't realize until it was too late that it was ridiculously easy to just use this to track the characters in a spot where they could never hurt you. This wasn't like him, not at all. We know from both games that Jonathan is an excellent game designer, even when he has to come up with his own ideas. The second game was arguably the best put together FNAF fan game of all time at that point, so why did he make such a critical error and not realize it until so much time and effort had been put into the development? The answer is simple. His heart was never in it in the first place. He had two options. Finish the game and disappoint himself, or cancel the game and disappoint everyone else, but save himself. Originally, he had obviously chosen to purposely find out if he could still make an enjoyable game if he wasn't enjoying working on it, something he had never done before, and it didn't work. For the sake of his mental health, he chose the latter. With the second game, Jonathan was able to keep his cool and maintain a level head during development because he had so many clear ideas. He wanted to improve upon the shortcomings of his first game and the bits of Scott's formula he enjoyed to create the perfect Five Nights at Freddy's. He succeeded with the second game, but with 1 week at Funkies, he had already grown tired of these characters. The community seemed to care about them far more than he ever did. They were always meant to just be jokes, and in his mind they never stopped at being just that, jokes. Something not meant to be taken so seriously. He even tried to come up with a solution for his mindset that would be more serious and force more.
Here comes the catch.
Against everything that was stood for.
Quietly now.
Our bond is strong. I'll settle this. My apologies.
My patience.
Kamisato art. Sumetsu.
You can't try to start something that isn't and expect for it not to get even worse. Honestly, he probably just wanted to move on with his life already. And this is a toxic relationship that permeates many creators' lives that feel like they're stuck and that something that they don't even care about is what got them their popularity and what people seem to care about the most. Without a clear goal and lack of motivation due to not caring, being a creator is just impossible. The expectation becomes a weight too crushing and heavy to bear. So
Actually.
the game was cancelled. And he didn't want to, but he had to. With a sour taste left in the community's mouth, months passed. The months turned into years, and it seems like Jonathan was done, and Funkies was gone. It's August 2020.
Nahida really,
Jonathan performs a
I mean,
routine
she's
check of
obviously
his
great, but
due to the incessant, obnoxious emails asking him about flunkies and why he
Just
canceled the
what will
game,
we come across
Five Nights
this
at Freddy's
time?
in general, all that. He has a filter that sends anything related to these things straight into the trash. However, on this fateful day, he
It
finds
is
a
as the stars
particular email
foretold.
sitting in his trash bin. It's from Scott Cawthon. He's
bruh.
been invited to the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative, a project Scott Cawthon arranged for high-profile fan game creators to receive extra support in the form of funding, merch, boards, and more. And Jonathan was invited, under the condition that he wasn't even required to make a third game if he didn't want to. This was perfect for him. So what did he do?
You are not
And if another scenario his
Stand with
basic
me.
idea for the game to move game to hand management,
Written in the
there was
stars.
much less direct dispute. In this dream, he was sitting in a cabin in the mountains of the
Sakura swirl.
on all sides.
Delve into destiny.
Fluffy and Clam were the doorways and
Our bond is strong. Lightning terrified. Take
What
care
the?
of
he liked the idea of the game taking place in a cold environment, so the office turned into a freezer, and the temperature mechanic changes. The game actually recycles a major mechanic from monkeys that camera flash. Originally, you were going to use it on the cameras themselves, but now the camera uses it as an office.
What humiliation.
What? No!
I believe this mechanic is
Whirling
honestly
snow. Let me scribe.
fitting for a horror game. The idea of shining a light down a pitch black hallway to reveal a monster on the verge of attacking you is conceptually
Take flight.
horrifying. And it gets even more horrifying when you consider the view functionality of Grumpus the Clown, who starts and over like you would consider it an art gallery. But once he moves out of the way of the sign, you doubt that this is the one character that you should absolutely
Not having C1 Mona really puts a damper on things.
to the camera mechanic and it prevents you from blindly using it to repel.
I need to cryo so
Now,
Mona
for
can
anyone
get
who's
more
paying
field
attention,
time.
You may remember earlier when I said that he wasn't a fan of the music box mechanic, and the temperature meter basically acts like that on a surface level. But
For this
his
hyper
main
bloom
intent
team
was
to work.
create an
I
area
could
that's
probably replace
safe at the beginning,
Cookie
but was
with
dangerous
Barbara,
later on
though.
because of the red room. In this game, he seems to be in a volcanic room very similar to the first game, but sometimes he will actually give you a message that you cannot go to the furnace. He travels from the room down through the furnace and out of it, killing you if you make a wrong move. This is pretty fitting considering his first appearance and backstory has to do with these extremely hot temperatures. Lamb is, like usual, the plainest character in terms of behavior. Just like the previous games, he follows a fixed path and turns into Kevin Jr. when he's just about to enter your office. Golden Fonty serves the same purpose as the other games, being a hallucination, but he actually acts more like the Phantoms from Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Because of this, he's more of a distractor and an annoyance than anything else.
Yellen only does single
Since
target.
this was meant to be the
That's the
final
big problem
Flunkies
here.
game, Jonathan knew that he had to bring back
Mana
both
doesn't
the
work,
Beaver and
but-
the Owl. Originally, he really wanted a way to implement both characters independently.
I'll take
of each other,
care of
Barbara
and
will.
This is obviously difficult since they function the same. To combat the issue, he tried to implement them with unique mechanics, maybe even making them come from two different sides, but ultimately, everything felt too unnatural to him. He decided the best course of action was to consolidate them into one character, the Beaver Owl. How fantastic. To complement this, the Owl now has his own gravestone sighting that he chose to journal. He would slowly progress
I
through the
wonder
vent
when I'll be as
until
tall as my big
near your office,
sister.
in which you would have to use the camera flash to make him go away. The eyesore also makes his return. Because of his eyes, you can actually tell when he's in the hall, which is terrifying. He actually serves a very similar purpose to Grumpus from the first game, as he slowly seems to get closer the more you use the camera's button can actually be repeated, using what little camera flashes you probably have
Bring forward!
As a quick
Kamisato
little
out.
side note,
Surrender!
he actually attempted to implement
Let's
one
dance.
character that he shelved in
Dissipate.
but he couldn't put him in this game organically, just interrupted.
Yeah!
He decided to scrap the character and potentially use it for theoretical future.
Gotcha.
Although I personally prefer the look and feel of the
The bond is
second
strong.
game, I think this game has overall the strongest metal
Scatter.
There was no self-imposed color limitation this time around, but you can tell that he was mostly going for a composition based on temperature contrast.
Stand with me.
Obviously complements the literal temperature difference between the freezing office space and everywhere else. Most of the rooms will use saturated.
Well, in the end, though, it does seem like my strongest team was the one with
However, every
Yellen.
time you put down the camera, you're greeted to cool and desaturated blues, whites, and
For this
Raise
hyper boom
giving
team
off a
with her.
cold, freezing feeling. Aside from the furnace room, of course.
Although,
Now, you may have been wondering, what about Flumpty? I mean, you talked about every other character, but he's the main character. Don't you worry. Flumpty is here. He's always been here.
It is as the stars foretold. Can't sleep?
Ever since
Let's
the
go
very
for a
first
walk
game,
then.
Jonachrome had considered making all of the characters variations of Flumpty.
My
Flumpty
experiment
is the main character,
will
of
succeed.
course, and he's also the most horrifying. He's immune to the plot, and he can transcend time and space. Doesn't that just make him a god? Even when clearing the beginning of the game for the first time, you might be excited at first, but in the back of your head, you know something is wrong. Flumpty was missing from the entire game. Quickly, many other Flumpty variations also appear, taking the place of the friends that he massacred in cold blood. Throughout the night, the difficulty gets progressively harder. New features and mechanics are added with an almost comically timed horror, and you panic. You have no idea what's going on.
Leave
In
it to
about
me.
the second half of the night, the UI starts
Let's go
to
get
be
ourselves some
untrustworthy with
answers.
values being displayed, clearly not correctly. The color composition is actually swapped. Now the office uses purples, reds, and browns, especially with the introduction of the laser doors, but the corridors have swapped temperatures. They now use mostly cold blues, whites. As you get closer to completing the night, an electro swing song performed by none other than Funky Bumpy himself begins to play. The song
Things are about to get dicey.
Stay clear. Don't forget Diana Special. Shake it and stir.
Busted. Gotcha.
Absorption test. Animal test 6308. Yeah, I'm
This part of the song is actually just the 6-second chime script slightly different.
Scratch. Animal hyperstation. Inhaling in 3.
Game's up. Fun's over. Go. Quietly now.
Once the song comes to a melancholic end, a cutscene plays.
I want to try something real quick. Since I will probably be playing this team quite a lot from now on.
You won. But at what cost? It almost feels like playing into Flumpty's hands is a safer bet than whatever is going on outside. But you don't have time for that because the game's done and the credits are happy. Hooray! The game does come with a hard-boiled mode, which the first game also received in the new ports, so now every game has one. This mode focuses on having a more difficult version of the game's first night, so Flumpty Night is more of the ultimate climax, while hard-boiled mode is more of an add-on. For the sake of this night, Jonachrome composed a classical remix of Swan Song No. 4, Serenade, which you may recognize more easily as the Shadow Bonnie FNAF 3 minigame song. The reason why he did this is actually a little deeper than it might seem. As I mentioned earlier, the original One Night at Flumpy's was actually made as a joke because of a passing interest in FNAF,
Busted.
but this is mostly because of Remarkable. As of Flunky's 3,
I see
Jonathan
everything.
didn't really care about Five Nights at Freddy's anymore, and he ultimately believes the first 3 games were the best ones, and that was great.
My apologies.
Fair, isn't it? His cover of the song is meant to draw a parallel between where he believes Five Nights at Freddy's ends and where One Night at Flumpy's also ends.
Really hurt. Whirling
In my
snow.
opinion, One Night at Flumpy's perfected Five Nights at Freddy's formula. As an artist myself, I am definitely biased towards the very well illustrated hand-drawn graphics, but the simple effectiveness of the character designs and the environments really shows how great of an artist he really is. The gameplay takes everything good about Five Nights at Freddy's, enhances it, and cuts out the unnecessary fat. Truly, I don't think any other fan games will ever be able to take its very specific spot in my heart.
Here comes the
Of
catch.
course, there are many other FNAF fan games and many other FNAF fan games that are excellent. One of these fan games, like
Unlimited
Treasure
version?
Island from the previous video, is a
No,
classic
they keep
that I've
versioning.
kept up with in a long time. Despite that, I've gotten countless recommendations.
They keep dying too fast
Talk about
too.
it next.
Okay, it
Let's
does
see
seem
what
like
has
Yalan
in
is the
store.
one more likely to trigger.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time.
The blooms. Oh, time to do the event. I'll use this guy.
Monkeys, it's your time to leave the everything this place behind. Your fingers to the scramble, your fingers out of sight. But if you hold on longer, you can't
Survive the night.
Take it easy.
The fuck were those jumps? It's funky bumpy. It's funky bumpy. It's funky bumpy.
Quietly now.
Grow. Make yourselves a room. Gotta dash.
Game's up. Fun's over.
This might hurt a little.
Gotcha.
Yeah, those are low boom damage numbers.
And away I go! The Temple of Wisdom. Committed to memory.
Take flight. Kamisato art. Sumetsu.
Grow.
Cha. Busted.
That means it definitely isn't Nahida proccing them. Which means I want Yellen to have lots of EM for this team.
Whirling snow. Cha.
Try this again.
Things are about to get done.
Committed to memory.
Well, one bloom was triggered by Nahida.
Bye. Committed to memory.
Take it easy.
But yeah, the Trikarma purification damage pops first.
Gotta dash.
My apologies.
Very sad. Oh hey, it's Hania. I hate to tag it from recording.
Good roll. All right, maybe I'll take one more day off and knock out the rest of the work once I'm feeling up to it.
The fuck are you doing?
Sorry, are you ready?
In this video, me and my friend Banana tried to beat the game with as few advancements as possible. This is based on our last video, where we explored how many advancements were unavoidable on a randomly seeded run. Our final conclusion was 2 advancements, one for entering the Nether, and one for entering the End. Any advancement outside of those 2 that we get, even ones we get on purpose, we have to spin the Wheel of Pain. This video got a little weird, so we hope you guys enjoy.
Can we get wood?
Huh?
Yeah, we can get wood.
Yeah, what the fuck? What version do you think we're on, bro?
1.4.
Getting wood. Benchmarking.
Taking inventory. Okay, be very careful, because in this chest is fucking nuts. Oh, we have gold armor.
Basically just coal with a wooden pick. That's all we can really do.
Oh, there's coal right there. Should I go grab it?
We can slaughter as many innocent farm animals as we want with a wooden axe, and there's no fucking detriment to this run.
Oh, you can also mine granite. Holy shit, Granite! Oh, village. I think. Yes, village. Oh, there's a blacksmith here too. That sucks. Wait, no, that's good. The furnaces. Okay, wait. Iron sword. Can I pick that up? Wait a minute. Can we do the same trick for Blaze Houses with the iron? Where we just kill him and then jump down on the iron?
I'm gonna try something real quick. How do I sound? Oh my.
Navigating the world is a whole lot easier with a few different identities to choose from. Need me to come up with some for you?
Sorry if I sound terrible right now, but I'm trying this out. It's gonna be voiced. Oh. I feel like if there is gonna be another fungus tournament, the Aranara might be involved. Because the fungus are a major problem for them. Fungus are evil. They are technically the plant version of a virus. The plant equivalent. Oh. Well, that's nice. Archive Mechanicus. I see. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Let me go splurge on the artifact first. Might as well level this up. So my recording used to be at 2 decibel and 95 volume, but now I have it at 85 volume but 3 decibel. I'm just checking to see how it'll sound after this recording. And if I like how it sounds well, if it sounds well enough, then I'll keep it. Anyway, defense flat. Fucking fuck. Crit damage, that's great. I'll focus on attack and crit first, and cryo damage first. Lovely. More energy recharge? Yes. Revolution? Overthrow the government? Heck yeah. Let's get this to 12. Dang it, of course.
Good roll. All right, maybe I'll take one more day off and... Got the rest of...
And then crashed it.
No testing.
You tested it. What? You fucking moron. Okay, I'm so scared of this. Yes, it worked. It worked. Exactly. Okay, button. Yeah, button right now. Okay, you know what? These guys are actually stupid. Oh no! Next one up. Oh, plus anything that has an iron chest, you can't break the chest and then the button will damage the chest. This exploit really saved us on this run. Yeah. You have to be very careful. Oh, there's shipwreck. Okay, go shipwreck. Go. Here's what I just blew out the diamond. I'm gonna find out all the city and let the diamond go. Okay. It's careful. Got it! Okay! Yes, yeah. Onto your boat. She leaves, stinky.
The hell, it's like some sort of mini RTS.
Oh my god, there's got so much iron on me right now. It's been 45 minutes. We haven't had a single fuck up. Honestly, for us, that's quite impressive. The harder one.
That's fine, I guess.
It's just like, we were so more focused. Yeah. I wasn't trying to stretch it.
Oh, there they are.
Bro. Everyone hold hands.
I suppose this is a fine enough pastime. Won't be problematic with my exams at the very least. Oh my, more stages are already unlocked. I'll do them some other time. I'm kind of all Genshin'd out now. And I wanna see the recording. Nahida, say something real quick. I need to test something.
What they say is true. You have to see the world for yourself to appreciate how beautiful it is.